The residents of the BUEA neighborhood are increasingly concerned about the recent discovery of mysterious dead bodies found on the streets. Hello there, welcome to Issues on Divine Mercy Radio Television. On this edition of the program, we shall be looking at the recent discovery of mysterious dead bodies on the streets of the BUEA municipality. This troubling situation, of course, is not limited to the land of legendary hospitality, but it is one which spans across major cities in our country. On this edition of the program, we shall be highlighting possible causes of such tragic situations and providing guidance on how this can be minimized. I am Fomucha Mirabel, inviting you to stay with us. We are coming back right after the break. Beautiful people, you're once again welcome to DMR TV, where the program hitting the airwave is Issues. And today we look at the mysterious dead bodies which are being found on the streets. We look at the possible causes, and also we are going to be providing ways in which such tragic situations can be minimized in our different localities. I would like to welcome on board Madam Sarah, who is joining us this Friday evening. Hello, Madam.
Good evening, Madam Mira. Good evening, televiewers. We say happy weekend and happy holidays to all the people and students who started the second term break today, the 4th of April 2025. We wish them a wonderful stay at home. They should stay safe and do not forget to always pray and always remember your book work.
Thank you. The teacher herself is right here reminding her pupils and all the students who are on break to always pray and remember that holidays is a time to rest, but not a time that you have to forget about bookwork. Thank you so much, Madam Sarah, for joining us on this edition of the program. We are also welcoming on board Mr. Mbatibo Lucas. Hello, Mba.
Hello, Mimi. Hello, Madam Sarah. Good evening, televiewers. Once again, it's a pleasure for me to be here.
We are happy to have you on this edition of the program as we look at the sad situation of corpses, dead bodies that we find on the streets of BUEA, and which is also a situation rampant in other towns in our country. We are going to begin by looking at some of the possible causes. But before we get to that, let us just remind ourselves of what happened in Bokwango one early morning. The body of a teenager was found lying on the streets of Bokwango here in BUEA. And recently, just about 3 days ago, another body was found lying dead in that should be in one of the areas in Moliko, just by the road. Now, Tebo, this is something which is almost recurrent, and it's not only limited to our town or our city, as we may want to call it, but it is something which happens in other towns in the country. What can be some of the possible causes of this sad situation?
Once again, good evening, and thanks for having me. I think it's a very sad and sober kind of discussion, because we are talking about the dead. And I think that it is not a problem that is peculiar to BUEA, like you rightly said, or maybe even Cameroon. To be fair, it is a disturbing situation. We people always regret when such things are happening, or when they see such things like the recent examples you've cited in Bukwango and of course around Sosoliso in Moliko BUEA. But problems like these are and what I want to say, maybe include natural problems which goes with urbanization, which goes with development, which goes with freedom, and to an extent, a very large extent, it goes with insecurity as well. You know, we are living in an increasingly urbanized, overpopulated town, and as a result, or let's say that our townships are increasingly becoming more populated, while our rural areas are increasingly become depopulated, as many people strive to move towards bigger cities, bigger towns,
for greener pasture,
and of course for better life. And because of the limited resources, or the limited availability of jobs, businesses that can cater for all this population, when you have a situation where there's this high movement of persons into urban areas, there's tendency that of course the crime wave is going to increase. And when crime wave increases, of course you are going to, unfortunately, you are going to encounter issues like people dying on the street, people being killed. Another aspect which is very rampant is this issue of drugs. I think it's a very disturbing issue. It's a serious issue which is actually destroying youth across the board, and I don't know why I have the feeling that it's like it's already at the level of an epidemic, even though people don't talk about it much. But we are in the level of drug addiction epidemic in the country, where young people are so much involved into drugs that is destroying them, is killing them. Some of them can even take at a point where they can just sleep overnight and pass out, and then in the morning you just discover that they are gone. Because of one, we can talk about the reasons for drugs from now till tomorrow, but that's another topic, another day. Another important aspect also we live in a crisis zone. And our security services, even though they are doing their best, I must say that they're trying to protect people and their property, but because of limited resources, you see that we cannot really have them everywhere at a time as we would have loved to, because they cannot be at A, B, C, D at a particular time. And as a result, with the crimes, with the crisis, whether people engage in all kind of activities that sometimes is deadly, and you get the kind of results you do. Another aspect which I want to talk about, which is not a conventional aspect, it's a kind of an unconventional aspect of possible reasons why these things are happening, is what people say occultic sacrifices,
rituals,
spiritual activities. Yes, it is there. It is, but since scientifically you cannot prove that, so I don't want to really go into the details of it.
But I think we have to get into it, because when we talk about Moliko, our concern is particularly BUEA, and in the heart of Moliko, we hear so many persons complaining. At midnight, I was passing along this place and I saw a group of boys, they were doing incarnations. So I think we have to get to the root cause, or we have to get to the details of this, so that our audience understand that while they are engaging in such acts, this can be their the way out can be, or their consequence can be maybe their dead bodies being found on the streets.
Exactly. This whole issue of sacrifices, occultism, and it's a very complex issue. And in as much as I've never experienced it in reality, but I do think it exists, because we see it in movies, we hear stories, and so on. And Moliko, again, the killing is not limited to Moliko. It is everywhere. In Douala, it's of Yaoundé is the worst. You see people on a daily basis, some with mutilated body parts, some of their parts are missing, and so on, which in most all likely cases point to some kind of spiritual links pertaining to that particular corpse, or the case may be. But what I think is that we live in a society where people are increasingly impatient. People are increasingly being influenced by others, by people they don't know anything about them. We've talked about this in other programs, by their celebrities and so on. Young people actually want to live they want to live the life of the future now. And so the competition is really
the love
fierce.
of fast money.
Yes, and when you come to a small community like we have, it's a very small community.
Exactly.
I mean the whole BUEA, Toilets of Moliko, which is just we come to a small community like this where you have a very high concentration of youth in a very small area space. You see that the competition, it becomes even more intense, and so people are bound to engage in other things that are not advisable or not godly. People want to make money, people want to succeed in business very fast, people want to outshine other people want to look more beautiful, people want to have rich men to come to them. People have different kind of ambitions in life, and so when those things cannot come naturally, they tend to go spiritual so that they can go to the spirit realm and kind of drag those things to come at the moment, and there's always a price to pay. Yeah, so some of those cases too can be linked to fetish or spiritual issues. I don't know, but generally there are multifaceted reasons why some of these things are happening in both our local area, and some of them are used for sacrifices, some of them are just victims of some other persons in the hands of some politicians. I'm not saying that politicians are evil persons, or they are some bad guys, some bad people. Well, because we whether we like it or not, we have to admit the fact that those things do exist.
They do.
You know, when you see a mutilated body on the street, when maybe the eyes are not there, some vital parts are not there, it is evident that something unconventional had taken place, and we've had that kind of situation. We are in a very difficult moment. We are in a very difficult generation. We are witnessing one of the most crucial aspects of transitional stages. 20 to 21st century transition is very fast. The generation is a very fast one. They are in a very fast lane to achieve a lot of goals, and increasingly, whether we like it or not, the regard for human life is not as
it's not valuable as it used to be. Yeah,
it's not really top there as it used to be in terms of how you value people now. People to kill people, for so many people, it is not a big deal. Initially, it used to be really scared, but now it is because of the globalization, because of importation of culture, because of what society has normalized and accepted in terms of behavior and moral rectitude within the society. So people, when you start looking one wrong thing to be normal, it's normal to look at the next one to be normal, and you keep increasing, you keep dragging the rope until you get to a certain point where we are at the moment, and I think it's just regrettable.
Thank you so much, Tebo. You have highlighted some key points of why we can get into the situation of having mysterious dead bodies on the streets. And Madam Sarah, I know that we have talked about some of the points, but I think we still have more points to elaborate on, which you may want to come in at this point in time.
Madam Mira, another point which I will just add to what Mr. Tebo was talking is the fact that children these days, they no longer listen to their parents, and for that very reason, their parents too, they struggle to remove their hands off them, leaving them by themselves, which is bringing them or sending them out of the way. These days, we hardly have that moment that mama or daddy will call the child and caution the child. Though they are saying that they are always making this statement that you born pikin, no born in heart. But I don't think that it can be in a situation that the child go off hands immediately. When you keep talking, you should know that you need to talk. Do not leave this child or these children by themselves. Get to work. The more you leave them by themselves, they start getting to the society. The society start educating them. And another thing too is the parents too, they are contributing. They are contributing factor, like Mr. Tebo was talking about.
Please, Madam Sarah, let me just cut you there before we go to the parents being a contributing factor. Let us just stay with the point of parents not, getting tired of talking to their children, and in such a way that they go out of hand. Do you think that at one point in time, as a parent, you can actually get tired?
Yes, you can, but we live in a society where you see that when you are tired another thing will take its place. Even us Christian, they are teaching us that we should never get tired. When you fall, you wake up. Fall, you wake. Though it is not easy, but carry it as your cross. Maybe that is your own cross, and learn to carry it. That child that is in that situation, that child in that house behaving that way, it is your cross. You are keeping your cross for who to carry. No, carry your cross. It is till not the end. Till the end. It is not easy. That is true. But get another people involved. Bring
others. They say if you talk to Peter, for example, and Peter does not listen, call for Tebo.
Yes.
So that together with Peter, together you can talk to Peter. If he still does not listen, call for Sarah.
Yes.
And at one point they say, forget about him. I don't know, Tebo, I don't know. We are talking about this issue of parents getting tired, because experience has shown that, truth be told, sometimes parents, they talk, you see a wayward child getting into troubles today, tomorrow, day after tomorrow. They lock you up in prison. The parents are there for you, and at one point in time they say, hey, I am tired. Such a situation, what will be your opinion on that?
I think that first of all, talking about parents being tired and talking about possible causes for increase in dead bodies in the streets, in as much as they have some kind of correlation, it's not entirely linked together. Because to have a stubborn child who doesn't take to the advice of their parents and maybe suffers and maybe dies an untimely death, it's entirely different from having somebody dying on the street.
I think it's very related, because you can have a child whom they say, I take the example of the lady in Bokwango, the teenager who died in Bokwango. Yes, getting to find out what happened, because I discovered that she was from a family in Moliko, and the women were there said, no, they picking imami talk, they talk for Itaya. So they just abandon him, major do it we want do. You know, that kind of a stubborn child whom you tell the child, you guide the child. Even if you're going out partying with friends, you shouldn't come back late. If you're going, and that child just decides to do things her own way. And so if you get tired, because some of us, when they talk to you and they don't get tired, you know that if you are coming back at 10 p.m., the whole night you'll be beaten. So sometimes you're scared of not being beaten, and maybe you come home early. So I think that's in line with what she's trying to say.
Yes, I'm not saying that it's not related. Of course, I'm saying that it is in as much as it has a link, it is not the entire cause of
it is. It's just one of it.
Exactly. It's just one of them. And I will say that it is even a very smaller cause or possible cause for this, because if we focus on just parental discipline and leading to people dying in the street, it takes away the attention from the real true practical reasons which actually can lead to such situations. Most of these people who have been killed in the street, some of them were kidnapped, some of them were people who are just returning home from work, maybe late at night, and then they were stabbed and killed by armed robbers. And it's very common in Douala, right? I've been attacked in Douala in the night before, so I know what it means by roadside thieves with knives and so on. Some of them, true, there are people who didn't listen to advice and so on and so on. Some of them are those who actually look for it themselves, like we're talking about this occultism and so on. Some of them are involved into drugs, and which will still lead to probably what you talk about in terms of parental advice and why they end up that way. But I think that dying, what I was trying to say is that getting stubborn or getting killed or dying is one thing, and kind of dying and nobody knows the cause of your death and you are just discovered in the street, it's a whole new level. It's completely something really different. It is the most cruel way somebody can die. It's as near as dying and they don't see your corpse, because it is traumatizing. You don't know how you die, you don't know the pain you suffer before you die, you don't know what killed you, you don't know, because most of these people who died, they were never sick, right? They were never sick. Because if they were sick, they were probably would have died in the hospital. The people were full of life, the people were strong. So there is a whole mystery which surrounds their killing, whether it is those who were stubborn at home or it is just those who were just victims of high crime ways or circumstances. It is the same thing. The painful and the central part of it all is that they died in circumstances that nobody can really say, and most often investigation into such gruesome killings always end up in the dustbin. Nobody always knows what's happening.
Nobody tells us what happened.
Exactly. And because nobody really tells us what happened, so we don't have enough data to say that, okay, statistics shows that many people who are found dead on the street are found dead because of this. Because you know that, okay, they died because they were just attacked by armed robbers. Okay, 80% of people who are killed in the street because of high crime. So be careful. Don't keep late night. Don't do this. But again, nobody investigate our economy. We still have more pressing issues. People want to drink water. People want to still have electricity. Nobody really has time to go and investigate why you died in the street. So I can understand. It's not like that advanced country where they have solved their basic problems. Then
and they can really present.
They can really start taking care of investigating what killed a dog, what killed an animal, what killed a human being. So it is challenging. But on the face, but if you look at it generally or at a superficial level, you can point out to some of these things we have been saying. And of course, parental neglect of parental advice or advice of your guardian will definitely be a contributing factor. But it's a secondary contributing factor, because if you disrespect your parents and you go to the street, you are killed by armed robbers. The truth is that it's because of high crime is why you are died. You have died. It is true that if you have also listened to your parents, you wouldn't have died in the street. But it's a secondary contributing factor. It is not directly responsible for your death, because there are many people. I'm not saying that not listening to advice is a good thing, but there are many people who have not listened to advice and they've not ended up dying like you. So
and there are many persons who have taken drugs and they have not ended up dying on the street. So I think that let me just cut this discussion short. We are here to look at some of the causes what can actually lead some of these children or some of these teenagers. Most of them, if you look at the corpses we have found on the streets, they are really not old people. They are really within the age range of 18-40. So what can be some of the major factors that can lead to such situations? I'm sorry, I had to cut you short a bit, and let's just continue.
All what we are saying is just something that can bring somebody down. That's what I think. That is why I say that, okay, if I keep talking to my child, I keep educating the child on how the street looks like these days, the child too will be afraid of some certain things not to do them. And this prevention is better than cure. That's true. You can prevent it. But now if you don't advise that child goes and find rescue in that company that they'll only do occultism or sacrifice rituals and all the like, ending his life. That's why I said that if you tell them the reality, like Mr. Tebo is saying, we are changing to, we are going, or we are in that 21st century, you need to tell children that this is what is happening out there. And never stop telling. Though there are some you will talk and they will still go. Another thing is, I will still dwell on this parents. I don't know why. I think that they too are welcoming. Like now, we are in a society where my child is in Moliko, they have joined a group and they are doing scamming and all the like. I don't know where he lives. I don't know what he is doing for a living. And I just see him coming with a car. And I'm very happy. At the end of the day, it may be that he has gotten himself into a kind of crime or a kind of environment which is not comfortable.
An activity which is not legal.
Yes. And it can... They to themselves, they used to have serious problem and planning to kill person. That is true. I used to hear that, okay, we are into business together, and you carry the bug and you run away, and we start looking for you. At the end of the day, they are planning you to eliminate you without the parent knowing. So some of those things, and then quick money, competition. Like you hear that a child killed the mother and removed some parts. What for? Quick money. I want to meet up. I want to meet the society. I want to meet up how the standard of the society I need to fit. So those quick system of having money is another contributing factor. Madam Mira, like I was coming and there was this father, the man who was driving. He was not even steady on the steering because there's a disturbing situation he is facing. That the son get himself involved in one problem and they have come to the house to pick them, to go and lock them up. That they told, or in them, they know that the parents are the one advising the child. So the man was just being disturbed that no matter how they have struggled to talk to this boy, at the end of the day, talking like that, and then the boy does not listen, and the boy is in the society or is still in that company, coming out, and at the end of the day, some of those things can lead to early death. So we are just saying that when you are growing, when you see the society now, you should be able to tell them that 8 p.m., please do not go out. We start telling them as young as they are. The security system is not even that good, because people are out there looking for means to earn their living. You may be used as a sacrifice.
Yeah,
so yes, so 8 p.m. when it is late, do not keep late night. Avoid a company you mingle with, you join. Because when you start telling them those realities, they will get to know that the society is not safe. The environment is not safe. I should grow and know that when it is late, I should be in my house. And I know the kind of friends I keep. And my parents should know the kind of friends. What are we discussing? Because most of these boys taking drugs, they started having company, and their parents themselves do not know the kind of friends they are keeping. Now, at the end of the day, they are calling them junkies. They are abandoned. I saw a group of men sleeping in front of a store the other day down at Moliko. Madam Mira, if you pass around that area around 1, you will see boys, not
Homeless.
homeless. They are sleeping. So I was asking, is that how they live? They say, yes, they are junkies. That's what they call them. They are junkies. Something happened now. The parents will know if they are boys. They will just go, because the place is having this carpet grass. Yes. They will just go and sleep there and hoping to wake up in the morning and continue their same way of life, living a life in the street. When you are living that kind of street life, anything can happen to you at any time. When you're living that life that people do not know what this one is doing. People are scared. They don't have nothing to talk about you.
You don't have a definition of your life.
You are forced to get yourself into trouble at any time. This is Madam Mira. Yesterday, before we discussed this morning, the first thing that came to my mind that we have not discussed before now, I knew you are in Munyenge. Yes. I should be able to know that, okay, this person is working here, this person, we should know ourselves. But if you have that family member, that child, which you don't know, most of them, when they die, they go rest.
Exactly.
Yes. Maybe to arrest.
I think I would like us to stay on this point, Tibo, and I hope you understand, because you see some of these children, I remember one advice my mother always told me was that when you're leaving the house, always tell people where you're going to. Because I remember you mentioned a point here that sometimes they die on the streets without people even knowing what happened. When you give information of where you're going to, and something which we are not praying for happens on the way, at least people around you will understand that she told me she was going to visit Tebo and she'll be coming back the next day. And if her body is found on the street, then we should call Tebo and ask Tebo. That should be the first point of contact to start finding out what is happening. Yes. So I think we go back to this issue of the company you keep and the way you live your life. You know, if your parents keep talking to you and trying to guide you on the right track, but you don't want to listen, you may fall prey. You're one of those who easily fall prey to those people on the way, because sometimes they want to do their rituals. They have given them specifications. Yeah. I need a girl who is between 18 to 20 years of age or 25 years of age. I need the breast. So if you are found out late in the night, they will definitely use you for that. But if you had given information that I'll be visiting this or that person, there will be a trace on,
where to pick,
the person might not really be the cause. And we have also heard of situations where young girls go to visit their boyfriends, or young boys go and visit their girlfriends, and they end up they don't see their bodies.
Yeah.
They don't see their bodies. So I think that this issue of being disciplined and also ensuring that those around you, they have a clue of your activities. You must not give out. We hope all of us have secrets, yes, but you must not give out the whole details. But a bit of information might be helpful in the hours ahead, which we really don't want. We are not praying that the hours ahead should be rough for anyone. And I think that you also made mention of the fact that we are in a society where you just follow people you don't know. And I really want to cite an example here. We have this, you just see a group is being formed and they say online jangi, please play for 5,000 francs every week and get a hair. Play 10,000 francs, and at the end you have you have maybe a particular dress, and we just follow. You don't know the mission of that group. You don't know the people you are associating with. And at one point in time, they say, okay, we have identified one lady in Moliko where we are going to meet physically at this point in time so that we bring the money together. And foolishly, you're going.
You're going.
Then tomorrow they see your body on the streets and we start asking ourselves, well, what happened? You know, we get ourselves into groups, into social gatherings without knowing the mission of those social gatherings. And which I think it is a concern. Now, let us, especially with these social gatherings that we say, okay, let us just belong. I think even when you belong without knowing the mission, there are some red flags that should signify that there is danger coming your way. Yeah. Which, Madam Sarah, I don't know if you have some points to put on that. You can actually say, okay, I want to join a group, and some group of persons say, all right, let's just begin a group of 5. And lately, there are things that you can start discovering which will guide you and will say, hey, this is a red flag. Maybe I shouldn't get into this because I may end up in a certain way.
There is this meeting. I am not a member, but when I look at it, and then I'm asking myself that because I know of someone who is too close or who is a member of that meeting. When you talk of red flag, Madam Mira, there are meetings that, okay, we are meeting every month. Every month when we meet, we need to change.
Yeah, rotatory.
Like going to different person's house. Oh, today we are wearing blue. This month we are wearing blue. Next month when we are meeting, we are wearing black. And everybody is supposed to be
in black.
The other month we are coming together, we are putting chain on the leg with white tennis. Now you are forcing people to think, what is the vision of this group? Because now if I don't have my money to put on, to go and look for a white tennis, different ideas start coming. The truth is, it is one person that brings that engineer or brings bad influence in a gathering, in a social gathering. Have you borrowed una money? Una buy, so that all will look the same. Una give me back. You don't know, first of all, before you meet people, to associate with people, Madam Mira, struggle to know, to discuss with not 2 of those persons, like know them. If we are 5 of us in a meeting, I should be able to know 2, like know them, that I have visited them and we have discussed or we have transacted something. Don't just meet people outside and then you just click and people are moving. No. You don't know what people go about doing for a living. I cannot just meet you now and then we just start forming meeting. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about somebody that I am not.
I understand.
Maybe we meet in a taxi and we're just discussing and the person flow with my discussion. And
that person becomes your friend immediately.
No, it cannot be like that. It cannot be like that. There are some red flags. Okay, today we are cooking by this, tomorrow we are cooking by this. It is true that we should cook, but when you start giving people option on what to cook,
there becomes a problem.
It becomes a problem. Now that person that does not know how to measure with what this person has prepared will think otherwise. And thinking otherwise is just small, just very small thing that can trigger somebody to have or to to get into occultism. Very small. It may not be like it is. I used to tell people that today na 2,000 francs you go there outside. At first, before you hear that this person is in one society, you see the person, you see the kind of life that person is living. You see what that person has as well, and then you know that the person there for Nyongo. But today you just see somebody, just wickedness. The person, I went to Bokwango the other day, we were sitting somewhere, and then somebody was telling us that for Bokwango they taste how merciful man easily. It means you can just be drinking and somebody has something and maybe want to try if what he is having, how effective
it is.
Yes. So it is something very small to destroy an entire society. So please, there are some places that when you start going to that level of comparison, if you have an association that start going to that level of comparison, today all of us should be on this. Me that I don't have, I start struggling to compete. It is
you get yourself into activities that
is a big red flag for me. Allow me to flow with what I have. But if you force me, if you tense me, there are some rules that okay, we are saving this meeting people can be saving. Those that want to go in for their small jangi, they should. But you start telling me that today all of us should dress using this code.
That is a red flag for you.
That's a red flag for me because I may not have the money. What are you telling me? I should go extra mile to do what you have asked me to do. That is not the reason we should come together. People should come together to work and build themselves. But we will come together now. You start telling me to dress in this. Today, this month, we are dressing using this color. All of us have to put on this gown, which is not an occasion. We have rare occasion that we can say, okay, this our brother Tebo is getting married. Like we are on issues all the time. We can say, okay, Tebo is getting married. Okay, say, since Tebo is getting married, issues they are going to put on, we should just spice the occasion.
Exactly. And appear in red.
Not that we are going to visit Tebo, so that okay, today will appear in blue. Madam said, oh, go and look for blue. Tomorrow we are going to visit Madame Mira.
We appear in black.
We appear in black. No, those things.
So those are some of the red flags. We are just looking at situations that should draw our attention, that things are not going on right. And it can also lead you to finding yourself on the streets. I mean, others will find you on the streets when you're dead, because as for you, they say when you're dead and gone. So this program is for the living and to see how we can all minimize that. And we're saying that there are other factors which trigger such situations like this, and that's why you hear Madam Sarah talking about some of these groups which we get into. There are some of these groups we get into and they pamper us so well. They treat us so nicely, but we don't know the end results. We don't know what they are planning for. I can remember a priest told us a story about someone who actually sponsored someone into the priesthood, and but that person was planning for something else. So we have to be careful the way people hype us, the way people they give us things, they draw us closer to themselves, because you cannot really know what the end result may be. And I think I want us to look at something, the scamming, because like there was an issue some years back in Bamenda. Scamming was very rampant, and within a short period of time you just heard, hey, this boy had a motor accident, this boy was found dead on the street. And so I just want us to look at that. And the issue of cheating, I think I expressed myself to you the other day looking at a particular example. Can you talk more about that?
I think I want before I come to that, let me just talk a little bit about some of the red flags. Or let me start with this first. Let me start with this, the question you asked. I think this issue of fraud or 419,
exactly.
There are many. The cases are many and they are diverse. They are as diverse as there are different persons. People are engaged in fraud in so many other ways. But I think what is really common now is cyber fraud, or what we call cyber crime, where people through the use of the internet, they lie about having a particular service or product that they want to sell or offer, and then when they take money to a potential buyer and then they don't refund, actually they are abusing the system that has been established to facilitate our living, to facilitate our buying and purchasing of things online. And they are abusing it for selfish gains. And because it is a very complex world, if you see most of these people, or most of the people or young people who actually engage in some of these activities, they are school dropouts. There are school dropouts who can barely read and who can barely write. They cannot construct a positive statement. So most often you wonder, why is it that these people who can barely write 2 sentences can actually deceive somebody to send them 20 million francs or 50
and
million
they do
francs?
send.
And people do send.
Yeah.
And as a result, that is where you see people start going into fetish kind of things to get powers, to get some kind of spiritual power, so that whatever they write or whatever they say,
it should be
convincing and compel the person who's on the other side of the phone to give them money that they want for whatever reason. And we've been hearing a lot of stories about how people have gone at different lengths just to get these powers, and nothing that comes from the devil comes without its own disadvantages, and the disadvantages have been many. So some of those things, they give them those conditions. You also get those conditions with a lot of laws around the law. You see, I used to tell people that, we used to discuss, I have a big friend, we used to discuss with him, there are laws everywhere. If you choose to be with God, there are laws you must obey for you to enter the kingdom of God. That's why we have the 10 commandments, right?
Yes,
you must obey the 10. Yes. If you choose to go with the devil, there are laws you must everywhere. Obey in order to benefit. But the only difference is that with God is merciful. So whether you and
there's no mercy on the other side. I like that.
Yes,
exactly.
God is merciful. It means that if you fail any of the commandments, you just need to go to Him and say you are sorry, and you welcome you back. But there, if you fail those commands, because it is always the same side, what is pertaining for the good side is always there for the negative side, but with the negative consequences. If you fail any of those consequences on the other side, it can really be messy.
Sure.
I used to have a friend. I want to share a story with a friend who used to involve in back then in Bamenda many years ago, like when we were still in secondary school, not now, so many years, like 15, 20, 15, 18 years ago, something like that. So he used to involve, he had a lot of friends that they were involved into this. So he had left it. He went to church. He was kind of born again, and then so he was always sharing his testimony with people. Yes, because before he left, they were in a friend of 7, just 2 survived. 2 died, 2 went mad. He said the one person, they were just drinking the clone, and then the one person just got mad. So two died, 2 got mad, and then 1 got missing. They don't know where the person got missing till today. They just got missing like that. So, and then when the last person got missing, that's when he left. He left there, called his mother, and explained what has happened to his mother. The mother said he should come because we're all here in Southwest. And then the mother took him to church. They prayed for him, delivered him. He was basically living in the church for a very long time, for like 2 years. A long time, kind of rehab, finished, and then integrated back. So he was always explaining his situation. So I used to ask him that, how is it? So you see, when we talk about these evil spirits, they do exist. It's real.
It's real.
He used to tell me that it is really difficult. So they used to have one native doctor somewhere in the northwest, whether it's Kumbo, one of those villages like that in the northwest. I don't really master villages there, even though I'm from northwest. But they say one of those villages that they used to go and take. They'll give you. There are different levels of powers they'll give you based on the condition. And he told me that one of them had a condition that every week you must make love to 3 different women. That's what the condition. Every week, at least 3 new. Yes, that's all you. And then you come and renew. Some you just need to kill a fowl every month. Some is a goat. It just depends on the kind of situation. Yes, to do one kind of thing. And as a result, when he first joined, how did he join? He joined because in secondary school he was a very popular guy who was loved by young people, particularly young girls. He's a nice guy. He's very good, very posh. So he was loved. So that is how that guy recruited him. The guy was supposed to have affair with women. So his role was just to supply these these ladies to the guy.
Okay.
3 a week. I don't repeat. You don't repeat. Just 3. You don't repeat. 3. You don't repeat. 3 a week.
So since the guy was a nice guy, he could
talk to the
easily
ladies.
attract
Yes,
women.
he was importing ladies from Yaoundé, from Douala, from BUEA, and at some point in time, that guy, when he couldn't, there was a time that he could not meet up with that, and that's why he got mad. So some of these things they do exist, and you can actually look at some of these things and you spot it on. And this is where the red flags we are talking about comes in. You know, for this occultic kind of groups, people just, like you said, people just join groups for so many reasons. I used to tell people that if you are joining a group and then then they are telling you in the group that what is discussed in this group should not be discussed out of the group, that's a red flag.
That's a red flag.
Yeah, because there's no reason why there should be discussion in a group that is confined. If you join a group where there is a lot of reverence given to a particular person, whether a living person or a dead person, if it's not a professional group, because you got a professional group where the employer is there, there's a lot of respect, it's different.
Definitely.
But you just join a social kind of group, then one person is almost worshipped or giving a lot of reference for no good reason. There's whether a living person or a dead person, there's a problem. It's a big red flag in terms of looking at it. And also, there are a lot of WhatsApp groups that kind of teaches they do teach people about violence. They try to normalize violence. They bring up kind of discussion which in normal routine moral lens they are wrong. But they teach you in those WhatsApp groups that those things are normal. They are justified. No, gay is a good thing. There's nothing wrong. It's just a human right issue. Those are so some of those things you can easily pinpoint and conclude that, hey, there is a problem here at a glance. So some of those red flags we can actually learn from them, and we can actually, you know, when people are in misery, misery loves company.
Exactly.
Yes, those who are in misery, they look flashy, they might have good cars, they might show wealth. The reason why they do that is because internally they are not happy. People who genuinely make money, hard work, and are billionaires, they don't show off. They hide the money. They don't want people to know that they have money. Those who show off money that they have is because they are not happy. And they are showing off because they want to attract many people to join their misery, because misery loves company. Those who really have money, when you mention, no, I just want a debt to a debt. They are alone. They don't want you to know that they have money. And that is the normal. So when you see some of those show off, some of those people, they when you are with them in the bar, they want to prove to you that they can buy down the whole bar. That don't know. Yesterday I went to Dubai, I spent 10 million. Those are red flags. When you are in a group where people are kind of competing among themselves, showing off, talking big, demonstrating their wealth, it's a red flag. It's to tell you that this is the wrong place to belong.
Thank you so much, Tebo. We are going to take on this message, which says that I think peer pressure is one of the reasons girls join meeting groups these days. It is true, leaving your home and moving to another town can be lonely, but most people join these groups because they are carried away by the life portrayed by these groups, not minding the background of these groups. And this goes for both genders. And this is coming from Doris Epole from BUEA. Thank you so much, Doris, for your contribution. Now, I want us to look at some of the ways in which, as individuals, we can try to ensure that we do not fall prey to what we are seeing. We do not become victims, or our children or our brothers and sisters don't become victims of these mysterious dead bodies which we find on the streets. Madam Sarah, can I hear from you?
The very first thing I think that can really prevent us from getting into situation which we don't want to is the fact that let us learn to listen to elders. There's this saying that what an elder can see sitting down, a young man standing
even
up,
if you climb on top of a palm tree, they see.
Yes.
You cannot see.
Let us listen to our elders, and some of those elders are our parents. Let us have listening ear. Let us give them our ears. Let us be sensitive enough to know that we live in a time where the society is bad, and what you would tell me, I should be able to listen. Let us go closer to God. Let us put God first. It says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and so every other thing shall be
follow.
Yes. Let us embrace God. It is a terrible time that we live, so that when we are close to God, there are things that we will not find ourselves doing them. Yesterday you were in Munyenge the whole day. You came back very late. Even someone call you very and it's sweet you will not go.
You will not definitely go.
You will not go, because you are satisfied where you are, where you have gone to. The preaching, instead that preaching and all the activities there gives you joy. So let us go closer to God, and you see ourselves not being part of those things. And secondly, or thirdly, let us avoid places where we are not supposed to belong. Places like that comes with a lot of competition. Let us not compete, because the moment we start competing, I will not think to do something which is bad to meet up to that situation,
which might lead you,
which might end me to my early grave. So let us not compete. We should not compete. Avoid competition, but let us praise those that are doing well
and try to see if we can emulate them
because
in
now,
good faith.
In good faith, because now when we don't compete, we should not jealous. Yes, I should not compete with you, but I should not also jealous you. Let me celebrate you. But if I'm celebrating you, I should do it in good faith, without asking myself too many questions. And let us avoid night movement. Madam Mira?
Because most of those things happen in the night.
Yes.
It happens in the night.
Yes. Let us avoid night movement. I remember when we were going to Bamenda for our White provincial rally. They wanted us to travel
by night.
I told them that I will not go. I like moving and seeing places. It is true that even during the day we can have the accident or the normal of
but the rate is pretty low.
Exactly.
Yes. They grumble that you go, you will reach there now late. I said, no, we will be moving like that and seeing places. What is that? Moving the night. And the night is meant for us to rest. It is not meant for people to be doing things that are supposed to be done during the day. So let us know what to do and respect the time.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Before you get to how individuals can help themselves, I would want you to talk a little bit about how the government can also help mitigate things like this.
I think it's unfortunate that we have kind of a near collapse, if not total collapse, of our social structure as far as a state is concerned. You don't need to go further than just to look at the ministry in charge of social affairs, which is supposed to be responsible for basically these things we are talking about: social security, ensuring that drug control, delinquents are taken care of around. And if you look at just their annual budget, they can barely pay staff who are working in that ministry. You know, we are a developing country. It's true we have a lot of wealth which we don't enjoy. We are a developing country. It's true that there's a lot of money that we don't enjoy as a people because of so many reasons. But what is there now can really not do much in terms of taking care of this situation. I'm afraid, and a country is like a family. The priorities of our government or of the state at this point in time, I really don't think we are there yet. We are still thinking about how to dispose waste in Yaoundé and BUEA. I'm thinking about how people can drink water. I'm thinking about somebody in Ikata can have electricity. I'm thinking how somebody in Marua can walk on the tap. So we still have all the basics. I'm thinking how a child in a community.
So we have not yet arrived to that level.
We have not. Unfortunately, our social aspect has outpaced our developmental aspect as a nation. So we are doing catch up. We are thinking 50 years ahead of our development. so it is really difficult. So at this point in time, the best bet is for individuals.
It's for individuals.
Like you guys rightly said, the best bet is for individuals to take. We have to normalize the fact that we are living in an increasingly globalized and urbanized environment. And with that comes a lot of challenges in terms of security, in terms of crime, in terms of social cohesion and the rest. Gone are those days where you used to live in our quiet communities where you can leave your things outside and nobody will steal them.
And the only thing you can be afraid of is the devil.
It's a ghost.
Yes, it's a ghost. When you are walking,
you see a plantain leaf,
you say, hey, devil.
That's all. But you never have any idea that somebody can really attack you.
Yeah.
But those days are gone.
They're gone.
We have to understand that we have now bad people in the street as much as we have good people in the street. So you must take the first security the first watchman is yourself. You should be the first person to ensure that you take adequate security for yourself. No matter what you are doing, you keep late night. Like personally, like me, I take a lot, I take a lot of security measures. At times I don't like to go to the house. If the worst come to the worst, I sleep outside where it's safe, because life is just one. There's no duplicate. And we must like you like two of you said accurately, we must communicate effectively what we are doing. Our girls, our young people must normalize introducing their partners to their parents or to their, those things should be normal, because we live in a very dangerous world here in Nigeria. A girl go and visit a boy, the boy kills the girl, and those kind of stuff. So I think parents, in as much as we are saying that children are not taking advice from parents and so on, parents too have to be receptive. I'm not saying that they just be loose, but should be receptive and encourage their children to bring their friends home, to introduce their friends to them, because there's high probability that once you introduce a friend to your parent, that person becomes part of the family to an extent, and the respect that person has for you is tremendous. So they are scared of doing certain things. Exactly. So the chances of hurting you is very low. So we should normalize some of these things, and I think that we just try to take care of ourselves and we'll all be fine.
That's true. Thank you so much, Thibault. I think one other point we have to note is also to try to get ourselves busy, because when you're just idle, you can a phone call, okay, I'm coming.
Exactly.
Another phone call, you say I'm coming to everybody, and at the end of the day, your dead body is being found on the street. So we have to keep ourselves busy and do not be in a particular place where you know you are not supposed to be there. You are supposed to know where you should be. And we're also saying that, like my brother Thibault said, let our parents too, let them be welcoming to the children. Introduce to them, let them be open. Know where your kids are going to, whether old or young. You know, if you know where they are going to, it can help a lot. And children, whether you're old or you're younger, please communicate to your friends. We all have someone that we can say something. Don't be scared that, I'll tell you at the go now, so you start asking me too many questions. Sometimes it's good to let them know that they'll ask you questions, and to also let the person you're going to see know that I have told somebody that I'm coming to see you. That can also it causes a scare in the mind of that person. So we have to be watchful in all that we do, everything.
Just imagine that you go and visit a boy or a girl, and then you tell him that or tell her that my mom knows I'm here.
Exactly. So it serves you a lot without you knowing. So thank you so much for being part of this discussion, and we hope you're going to stay glued to DMR TV, because we have other programs coming up. Until we meet again next week, Friday, we wish you a beautiful weekend. Stay blessed.